Hari Om. Good evening, friends. It's indeed great to have all of you join me in this webinar. I'm Guru Prasad, and I'm going to talk about simple steps for everyday happiness. These are basically thoughts which I have gathered from a whole lot of sources, listening to different speakers, Swamijis, listening, also reading different books over last 2 to 3 decades, and I have tried to compile together whatever I could. But one common thread which is running through all these thoughts is that they have resonated deeply within me. And I hope it does the same for you as well. And if it does, you will derive a lot of value from it, I'm sure. Okay, going ahead, I will cover the topic under the following heads. Okay. Spirituality for all, the root cause of misery, the toolkit, and finally, conclusion. Of course, I'm going to focus more on the toolkit and the solution part of it, because I'm sure all of us, in this sansar has got enough and more miseries to handle, right? And of course, uh, when you talk about spirituality, we should not only do things, we should try and understand why something is happening in our lives, and also see the reality as it is. Seeing and understanding is equally important as compared to only doing. Other day I was discussing with some of my friends about attending some spiritual program, and one response which struck me as rather odd is that he mentioned that he doesn't want to stop enjoying his life or life's pleasures, so to say. I was a little surprised. India is a spiritual country, and this is where we have come to. Understanding spirituality doesn't mean that you stop enjoying your life. Rather, the opposite is true. You start enjoying life from this minute onwards. And Nandati, Nandati, Nandatyeva says the great scriptures. If somebody gets into spirituality, let me assure you that happiness is his forever. So spirituality is for everybody who wants to be happy, right? So, and spirituality is everybody's cup of tea. Buddha put it best when he said, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. It is the starting point and it is the ending point, and there is no journey in between. Okay. Now, coming to the root cause of the misery. Well, need I say more? All of us understand misery very well. But the main issue here is the ego. Ego is the recurring chief of our kingdom of happiness. And assisting ego in all this are the fellow culprits, memory and the thought factory. Together, these constitute the world of matrix, the world of Maya, that is matrix. However, the main issue remains the identity. There was one movie called Born Identity. I hope many of you have seen it. In that film, the hero, who's a spy by profession, has forgotten who he is. So he is trying to identify himself by talking to various people. More or less, this is our situation too. We have forgotten who we are truly, because everybody calls us by our name, looking at our form, looking at my richness, the car, etc., etc. But what we are actually is something else. I have put together a business model so that all of us get greater clarity on this issue of identity and the business of this world. In this slide, you can see sugar, right? Sugar is the raw material of which sweets are made, right? So similarly, thoughts are the raw material for this crystal called ego, which has got crystallized in our in our bosom. And memory is a warehouse that stores and serves thoughts. I have shown a warehouse here which has got huge racks. All of us have created so many memories from our childhood, from the day we are born actually to this day. And all those memories are stacked up neatly in this warehouse called the memory. And what actually spoils sport is that even when we are undergoing an experience, for example, now we are undergoing this attending this seminar, this warehouse serves up memories of 20 years ago. The, sure, there must have been some trigger, but nobody asked that warehouse to serve up that old memory, but it does. And when it does, you lose touch with what is happening around you. So you are not available in the current situation, you are lost in past. Similarly, these memories also serve up concerns and fears for the future, and both together constitute what is called as the web of past and future, taking us away from the present moment, right? And all of us know very well this thought factory. You can see in this slide, in this picture, robotic arms working continuously on this assembly line, right? Our thought factory is like that, isn't it? There are continuous stream of thoughts one after the other tormenting us, making us happy, so many things. This is the thought factory that we have to contend with and probably bring it to a stop. And finally, we deal with everybody in this world. We deal with friends, we deal with our relatives, we deal with business customers, and everything happens in a kind of shop which we can call this dukan or chai ki dukan of this world, where transactions take place. You hurt somebody, somebody hurts you, you make somebody happy, somebody makes you happy. This kind of transaction go on in this shop. So overall, this is what our life looks like when put in the prism of a business model. Now, coming to the solution part of it, I have put the problems in the center, you can see here, and the solutions are all spread outside in the outer circle. And what you may note about this is that all these solutions are interconnected. There is no particular sequence, and you can start anywhere and start incorporating some of these into your lives, and together they act on the problem. Okay, first step is a given. When you go on a long ride, right, so you need to take care of your car, and the car has to be in mint condition so that there is no problem in between, the journey goes through smoothly. Same is the case with our own body. We are embarking on this huge adventure called the spiritual journey, right? And it is going to test us to our limits, and our body has to be in very good condition. So get fit for the adventure. A healthy body contains a healthy mind, and together they constitute a happy life. In Sanskrit, it's put very beautifully, friends. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. Thus says a Subhashita, which means this body is the tool with which you achieve all the objectives, all the purusharthas of life. And it is our sacred duty to take very good care of our body. Going further, as you embark on this spiritual journey, friends, many of us find us at the first crossroads and find that we don't know how to decide. The road signs look all very confusing. This is because we are entering totally unknown territory, which is the world within. And there are no clear cut signs as to which way to go. And our dull minds, which have been put into kind of inactivity because of the drudgery that we engage in our day to day lives, have got no wherewithal to deal with this kind of situation, or so we feel, till we realize there is help at hand. The help I'm talking about is simply this. Robert Pirsig, in his immortal classic Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, put it so beautifully. And what is good, Phaedrus, and what is not good? Need we ask anyone to tell us these things? So simple, isn't it? We have our inner voice, which keeps telling us, keeps advising us as to what is the right action. If only we remain silent and listen to it. Most of the time, we get lost in the din outside and the noise of our own thoughts inside, and we just don't hear. All we need to do is to turn the inner GPS on. It exactly tells us where we are in life, where we need to go. And all this, friends, is still a guru manifest for us in this world. And take it from me that many saints over the years have repeatedly asserted this, that the guru shall arrive when you are fully ready. So, till that time, our own inner GPS and the inner voice, whether you call it conscience or our own guide inside, our own heart will be our guru. Here is the great master Chinmayananda ji himself, who has come out with a beautiful quote on mindfulness. Let your mind be where your hands are, he says. And what a beautiful picture. If only we are 100% present in every situation and not lost to the memories of the past or future concerns, we will be truly able to enjoy the fragrance of our life and the beauty of our surroundings. There are many masters like Eknath Ishwaran, Eckhart Tolle, who have expounded the value of mindfulness and the tools that can be used to gain greater presence. Friends, we have all heard many stories during our childhood about the kings who surrendered their complete kingdom and handed over the entire wealth, kingdom, everything to their sons or princes who took over from them and went to forest to observe a retreat. This was called Vanaprastha Ashram of life. After finishing your brahmacharya and grahastha ashrams, where you complete all your worldly duties, you simply handed over everything and with a clean and light heart went to forest to reflect upon nobler goals, because there was a purpose, a higher purpose to human life which people recognized. However, what has happened now to this great country? There are politicians who are working even after 85 years of age. I think some former chief minister is 90 plus and still on wheelchair. He comes to address election rallies. Why is all this happening? Because we have lost that great purpose. We have lost vision of that great goal of human existence. I think we need to go back and recognize that human existence has a higher purpose of achieving happiness day in and day out. So, towards this, a great tool is to take the Himalayan route many of our ancestors took. We must go and take retreats once in a while to look within than outwards. And when we go on such retreats, what is it that we have to do? These days, when you go on holidays and tours and travels, the travel agencies take you on a almost kind of merry-go-round. You have to do this activity, and immediately after that, you have to go to this location. The schedule is packed to the brim, and finally at the end of the day you come back to your room and say, oh, thank God it's finished. Well, this is not what we need to do in a retreat. A retreat should be in a relaxed pace of mind. You need to slow down, and in fact many times you need not do anything. You need to rather see what you're doing and why you are doing. So this doing disease has indeed assumed epidemic proportions. And the Harvard Business Review, one of the famous business journals, it says people have forgotten the art and science of thinking because of the excessive action bias in the thinking process. We need to be mindful of this as well. Another tip I would like to share with you is that when it comes to the spiritual journey, it is not so much an activity of the mind, and it is not so much that our analytical abilities will help us. It is rather intuition, which is a combination of both our left and right brain. If you want to use the science analogy of the science, it is the intuitive perception which helps us. It is spontaneity and creativity which actually come to our rescue when we want to perceive the truth. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, one of the great masters, he has come up with this beautiful quote: the mind creates the abyss and the heart crosses it. Friends, this view looks very familiar, isn't it? All of us, when we are, generally going from place A to place B, this is all we see, because the machines these days, whether it is an aircraft or whether it is a train or even a car, they all travel so fast that it leaves you with a sense of blurred kind of images zooming past your window, right? This is not what we are supposed to do. I think human beings have a natural rhythm to their lives, right? So we need to slow down to observe, absorb, and enjoy. Because if you travel too fast, this our senses cannot process so much of information, and that is why we find we are lagging behind. And you know, the famous term jet lag, I think, relates to this well. So we need to slow down and also slow down the thought factory within. Though many times you are sitting idly, but the thought factory is, working overs in overtime, very high speed. We need to slow down our inner life too. And pranayam, which is the breath control or observation of breath, is a great tool in this. If only we sit silently, focus on our breath, and try to control through the pranayam exercises, it really slows down our mind, and there is this connection between body and mind which we come to experience so well. And of course, chanting of a hymn and a holy name has assumed great importance in many religious traditions, and that too aids us in slowing down our life within and without. Another tool I thought I'll share with you is this capability of ourselves to zoom out, to gain perspective. Let me illustrate what I want to tell by showing this video. Here is a girl lying on the lawns of her house, probably, and let us zoom out. Okay, we are zooming out, and here we are able to see the house, the locality, neighborhood, and the city, the coastline comes into view now, yes, and the continent itself. Well, the earth is visible now, the cosmos, earth and the moon. As the distance goes up, our view gets so vast, and our life and all our problems pale into insignificance, friends. And many times, when we are caught in turbulence, when we are caught in a tricky situation, all we need to do is to just zoom out and get a perspective. And we quickly realize that in the overall scheme of things of our life, this particular disturbance is no more important than a storm in the teacup. Let us listen to this music clip. Are you able to hear? Can you?
Guru Prasadji, we
Okay,
cannot hear.
okay, fine. So, what I did in this is slide, I had put a music clip for you to enjoy, and that music clip was basically Pandit Ravi Shankar playing sitar with this immortal partner, Ustad Allah Rakha Khan Sahab. And the picture here captures so beautifully how they are lost in the world of music. And what I wanted to come put across is that we all need to embrace a hobby or a passion, maybe music, maybe sports, maybe games, or maybe some kind of dance, or even work in some service project towards a nobler cause where we can lose yourself. This is a great tool where the ego or the grip of the ego gets loosened. See, our battle is so much against our own ego. Sometimes it becomes very difficult. So we need to take the help of hobbies or games or passions which we can pursue with all our heart and in a single minded focus. So in this whole pursuit, our ego gets sublimated, and this itself is a great tool. I wish I could make you listen to that music. It was really beautiful. Anyway, some other time. Okay. Now, many times we are caught in the grip of ego so strongly and so tightly that we forget to see what is right in front of us. We lose touch with the reality. And the ego trip makes us blind to even a big ditch right in front of us. And we fall right into the ditch. And life then gives us a jolt. So, jolted, maybe by death of a near relative, maybe by failure in our chosen profession, or maybe by some illness, we need to take cognizance of our own ego, and we need to embrace change. And we really need to basically understand that this negative situation, though it looks negative, has got lessons for us. And we need to understand that, you know, uh, our life has an insignificant place in the overall scheme of things in this world, and understand the greater objective and purpose in our own lives. This way, we can harness the power of this negative situation to go positive in the positive direction and to achieve our objectives. Again, I quote Nisargadatta Maharaj: the real does not die, the unreal never lived. You see, if somebody close to you died, what you need to realize that the reality has not died. Reality which was encapsulated by his body has not died. It is only that his body ceases to exist, right? Friends, I used to love going to the beach when I was small, and I'm sure many of you share this experience. The beach used to be a place full of sunshine, full of breeze, and full of sand, and so nice. We used to make castles in the sand and hope like hell that castles will never get disturbed by the waves. And sure enough, some wave will come and the castles will collapse. This life is like that. Whatever we build, however big the empire is, everything will come to an end one day. That is the transient nature of life. This detachment, this vairagya, we need to cultivate so that our investments in all the physical properties and physical world reduces. And at the same time, the footprints on the beach, we used to write the letter of the word Sri Ram, and we used to, wait for the sea to come and erase. I believe the sea, even to this day, is unhappy or rather angry with Lord Sri Ram for having breached it while going across to Sri Lanka. Well, that may be a story, but I want to illustrate that whatever impressions our minds gather, they need to be wiped clean every day so that we can forget, forgive, and be grateful to everything that life has given us. Gratitude is indeed another great tool for us to really see our life in a correct perspective. Okay, now that we have understood most of the basic concepts, let us listen to some higher reflections by great masters. Ramana Maharshi was a great saint who lived in the temple town of Arunachala, and he said, I is the self, I am this is the ego. What we need to understand is the pure sense of I is actually the self. But when it gets identified with I am rich, I am famous, and I am, this young man, I am this handsome hero, thoughts like this, it becomes ego. So all we need to do is to drop these identifications and remain with the sense of I am. And that is what Nisargadatta Maharaj says precisely the same thing. Meditate on this knowledge you are, which is the consciousness, and abide therein, he says. So beautiful, isn't it? Nisargadatta Maharaj was a great saint, many of you may be aware, who lived a very simple life in the bylanes of Mumbai. His guru told him, he was a vendor of, you know, running a small shop and selling beedies. And his guru told him to remain with the sense of I am. And he followed his guru so earnestly, and all experiences he would just dismiss by remaining with the sense of I am. And within 3 years, he actually realized that is the power of sincerity. Here is another great master, Jiddu Krishnamurti, who said, truth is for me the release of the mind from all burdens of memory. Truth is awareness, constant awareness of life within and without you. So beautiful, isn't it? It really makes us travel so lightly in life without the burdens of memory. It is the memory, friends, which acts as a huge burden on our bosom and on our minds. If only we can somehow get rid of this memory warehouse. I gave the example of warehouse, huge warehouse. Sometimes we collect memories of 50 years. If only we are able to remove this unwanted baggage, we can travel so light, isn't it? Yeah. Here is one person hopping onto a running train with burden on his head. What do you expect he will do after getting into the train? He'll just put down his basket, isn't it? He is wise, he will do that. And all of us, like fools, even in this life, which is being driven by the engine of God or that higher power, maybe nature, we will never put down our burden. We keep carrying this burden day in and day out, isn't it? We need to realize, all we need to realize rather, is that just like the train is being driven by an engine, our life, this whole world is being taken care of by that higher power. So what is there in us that we are capable of? We are limited beings. We will only get stressed and die. If we plan to take care of this whole world, it's not possible. We need to just keep our burden down. We This is what is called surrender. Surrender when all else fails will surely work. Do your best and leave the rest, and learn to let it go. Learn to let go of things which you cannot control. This is the secret of happiness, my dear friends. What you can do, please do, and put in your best effort while remaining 100% present in that situation. But what is not possible, let go. Well, some of these insights we have covered, and some of these, like bhajan and study scriptures, they're all there somewhere covered, but still, I have not been able to completely cover everything. Satsang is another great tool. So, all this together, right, will really help us travel forward towards our cherished goal of happiness and happiness in our everyday life. Implement what makes sense to you. Put some smart goals in onto your notebook. When I say smart, it is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Because many times what happens, we decide to do something about this, and after 2 years we remember, yes, we were planning to do something. Rather than that, take a calendar and say, okay, I am going on to this retreat during the month of April when my son has got holidays, and then I'm going to learn, say, classical music, or maybe join some salsa dance classes, you know, pursue some hobbies. So let us put some specific goals, and that way we'll be able to make quick progress. As another great saint of Bengal, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, puts it, in the scriptures you will find the way to realize God, but after getting all the information about the path, you must begin to work. Only then can you attain your goal, he says. So sincerity is utmost important, and if you are sincere and take 5 steps, I'm sure God will take 10 steps towards all of us, because after all, we are his children. Certain things matter, others do not. It matters a lot to know the difference. Swami Chidanandji. Purpose of human life needs to be realized, friends. We need to realize that we are the children of immortal bliss, and we need to keep that as the ultimate goal, and that as the single most important goal in our lives. Then every other thing will fall into place. But if we decide to watch a cricket match or a movie, uh, and accord that activity priority over listening to something else, listening to a spiritual program, then accordingly we reap the results of that action. So I'm sure all of you who are listening to me are fully focused on the spiritual journey, and I wish you Godspeed in your travel. Stay, and I wish you stay blessed as always. And I have come to the end of my presentation, and I am open to questions. Thank you.
I think Vasudev Rao has a question. He had raised his hand. Can I unmute?
Who? Yeah,
Vasudev.
please.
Yes, Vasudev ji, you can ask question.
It's not a
Yes.
question, but it's just a comment that I just want to make to congratulate you for this wonderful the presentation that you have done. A lot of effort you have put in, and that it conveys a lot of good information to a practical person, a man with a normal life in the life. So it gives you a lot of incentive and the information that you have put in. I just wanted to comment comment on your job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, kind of you to say such nice words about the effort. Well, it's a matter of education and kind of a spiritual sadhana for me as well, putting all these things together. In fact, during the course of compiling all this material, I had to go through several books, and I really enjoyed the whole process. So
Right.
great that you also found some value in it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Srinath ji is here. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaste, Guru Prasad ji. How are you? The presentation is so
Hari
nice.
Om,
And
your
with
good name?
Srinath.
Srinath ji.
Presentation is very
Yes, Srinath ji.
presentation is very nice with all the PowerPoint presentation. Like the another person mentioned, it requires a lot of effort, especially composing all these things. That makes us a kind of like illustration and gives more, more what you say, like focus on the subject. And you brought us, with all the different saints and sages. So it's a kind of recapturing all those, their works and their, preaches. But it's really a very nice webinar. I enjoyed it. Thank you. And please keep coming back and give us this kind of presentation again. So thank you so much again.
Thank you, Srinath ji, for your kind words. So nice of you to say such tributes to me. But practically, what I want to humbly, confide is that none of these thoughts are mine, and actually, it is just a matter of collecting whatever meant so much for me, the words which resonated with me. That's what I said, isn't it? So it's wonderful to put all these things together, and I hope people find it useful. That's all my prayer is. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again.
There is one typed question.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Where do I
is
see that?
same as Chitta? You can also see it. You just put that
Click
there's
on
a
chat, is it?
near the question.
Questions, yeah,
Control
okay.
pen.
Yeah, 1 second.
Can you read it?
Uh,
The question is memory same as Chitta?
is memory same as chitta? Oh, okay. Well, I think chitta is basically chit. The Sanskrit dhatu is intelligence, isn't it? Sat, chit, and ananda. Sat is existence, chit is intelligence, and ananda is bliss. So chitta, I'm not very sure whether it includes memory or not, because my knowledge about Sanskrit is rather limited, and the scriptures I am not very thorough, other than few and few small Upanishads and things like that. So, however, to my mind, memory is not the same as chitta. Memory is actually that part of brain which stores, right? Which stores vasanas, stores impressions from the past. And Sanskrit word for memory is not the same as chitta. I'm quite positive. For memory, I think, well, what is the Sanskrit word for memory? I'm not very sure. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not able to answer your question fully, but I hope you understand. If you know anything about this, please do share, Mr. Gunty, no? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not able to expand this window. Is the memory same? He's again typed something, I think. Antakarana covers manas, buddhi, chitta, and ahankara. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, that's. I think you're right. Antakarana consists of all this. Right.
Yes. Mr.
Well, in
Ranjan?
this, I want to admit one more thing here. I am not a great scholar in Sanskrit or scriptural classics. I've been attending classes, but my view on this is this: that in Bhajagovindam, uh, there is one line which says, the scholarship in spiritual matters is not so much important as compared to the understanding and your appreciation inside. So I've been a great believer in that. So I've not delved so much on scholarship. So I have not really bothered, but I think I need to learn uh, more about Sanskrit and scriptural terms, especially important terms such as this, so that I can I can clear your doubt with greater clarity. Yeah, I'll put in efforts towards that. Thank you.
Guru Prasad ji, Mr. Ranjan Desai would like to ask question. Yes,
Yes,
Ranjan
yes,
ji.
please.
Yeah, I'm here. Namaskar, Guru Prasad ji. This is Ranjan
Hari Om
Desai.
Ranjan ji, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah,
How are
tell
you?
me. Great, great. Tell me.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make a comment here. I think Swami Chidananji had put it very nicely. He said that we are made up of all the vasanas and experiences that we have.
Yeah.
And all the memories and that you already said was that's what makes us who we are first, and we have to rise above all those. And he had a good BMI chart that he used to share. Maybe if you could share it to the audience also, it will be nice. So to forget all the memories and all is what we need to go on the spiritual path, he says. And
Yeah.
it's not I mean, he gives a very good view of the Bima chart and to explain all this, how to reach the supreme goal that
Yes.
you're talking about. Yeah. I just
Yes,
wanted to
yes. I think Chinmayanji also used to use that chart, no BMI chart. I think it's quite famous in the Chinmaya mission circles. Yeah, it gives a lot of clarity. You're right. Absolutely right.
yeah
Thank you,
so he,
Ranjanji.
yeah so he said we are made up of all our experiences that we have, so each person goes through different experiences in life, all the 50 years or whatever, 100 years of life, whatever we have. So we have to rise above all those, he says. So that's all I wanted.
Correct. Correct.
And it was a very good presentation, and no, I really liked it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ranjanji. Thank you so much.
A.R. Ghanti ji has written some comments. Can you please open the question box?
Question box. Okay. Yeah, I opened. He has written about that Antakarana, no? Antakarana covers Manas,
After
Buddhi,
that,
Ahanka, Chitta, and Ahankara. After that, Chitta is a reservoir of thoughts. Okay. Chitta is reservoir of thoughts. Your presentation is very practical, he has written. Uh, yeah, he has written that my presentation is very practical. Thank you, Sri Ganti ji. Well, yeah, I think being practical, or my whole idea was to put together a toolkit. Finally, we need to use some tools, use some means to go beyond this limited sense of ego. So whatever made sense to me towards that direction, I put it together without bothering much about the scriptural validity of these things. That is what I tried to do. Yeah. So if you found it to be a practical toolkit, well, my purpose, I think, is achieved. Thank you very much.
Yes, Vasudev Rao would like to ask something. I'll
Yes.
unmute him. Mr.
This is
Vasudev.
this is me again. I had asked a question before. This is
Yes, yes,
another
Mr. Vasudev Rao. Tell
yeah,
me.
this is another comment regarding the enjoyment of the worldly things. There is
Hmm.
a misconception
Hmm.
that the scriptures are against enjoying the worldly affairs.
Hmm.
But actually, the scripture says you enjoy whatever you want, but just in your understanding,
Hmm.
that it is understand the impermanency of that
Correct.
enjoyment, whatever you are having.
Correct.
So it doesn't restrict us from not enjoying the worldly thing, but just to understand the impermanency. So that
Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. I think you have really hit the nail on the head.
right.
What happens when you think, when you rather assume that all these happiness, sources of happiness or pleasures are
Mhm.
permanent, is
Right.
that they are not really permanent. So when they are taken away, you feel cheated, you feel jilted, you feel that no, something has gone wrong with me, and something is wrong, something I'm being punished unnecessarily. Like these thoughts start arising.
That's right.
So, as you rightly put it, if only we enjoy everything, whatever life has to offer, with a
Hmm.
sense of understanding that, yes, this is for me to enjoy at this point of time, and
And
I
you should
should
live.
remain grateful, but this may not last. If you have that sense, then I think you can, even when it is taken away from you, you
Right.
continue to remain happy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
the general thinking is, that the general common man thinks against the scriptural this thing, thinking that scriptures are, making putting restrictions on enjoying things in the world. So
Yes.
that's a
Yeah,
misconception.
yeah. Yeah, in fact, I mentioned it during the course of my talk, no, right at the beginning, that when I
Right.
was discussing this matter with some people, in fact, on the golf course, they
Mm.
said, no, no, हम golf खेलना चाहते हैं, अभी भी हम enjoy करना चाहते हैं. मैंने बोला किसने रोका है? Nobody has stopped you. You can continue everything,
Mm.
provided, of course, if you are doing something wrong, which is not supposed to be done, right?
Right. That's
Indulging in some sins, then
right.
definitely you start feeling guilty, and I think that is also good only towards ultimate good of a person, isn't it?
Right.
So as long as you are enjoying whatever you are entitled to enjoy, I think
Mhm.
scriptures give full sanction, and in fact you can enjoy so much more with a lighter heart, and less burden
Right.
on your mind, isn't it?
That's right.
Yes.
That's good.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I think now no more questions are there. Thank you very much, Guru Prasad ji. It was really beautiful. The presentation was really interesting. We'll look
Thank you,
forward.
Vivaji. Thank you.
We look
Yes,
forward
I
again.
also look forward. I also
Yeah,
look forward to work on one more project and one more talk.
yeah.
Yes,
So get ready and
definitely.
let
Yeah,
me know. Okay.
yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you so
Hari
much.
Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.